Everybody, and a very warm welcome to tonight's session, during which we are going to take a look at feedback on assignment 2 for FOR 3701. It is 6 o'clock, and as said in the invitation, we will be starting at 6. So without further ado, please note that the session is being recorded and that we can share the recording with those who are unable to attend the live session tonight. Your microphones have been disabled as well as your videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the presentation. I'm going to walk through the feedback. If you have urgent questions that you need to ask, you are welcome to put them into the chat box for me. And when we are done, I will then engage your microphones and you will be able to ask me the questions that you want to ask me. Okay, so without further ado, let us proceed with tonight's session. Again, I just want to say welcome to everybody present. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend this session. I do just want to tell you that I am still under the weather. I've been booked off for the whole of the week, but I thought it pertinent to continue with tonight's session because it's important that you get the feedback and that we can proceed with our next session in next week on the exam preparation. Okay, so where did you access assignment 2? You accessed assignment 2 via your module site. And although that due date showed the 26th of April, as many of you know, the university did give a bit of an extension. So the due date there is not a true reflection of when your assignments had to come in. Please also note that due to me falling ill, I am a little bit behind on marking, but hopefully by beginning of the weekend, middle of the weekend, I should be done. So again, my apologies for that. And again, just this is where you would have accessed your assignment. So let's stand still for a moment and talk about the layout and the content of assignment 2. Now, assignment 2 counted 50 marks. And in terms of content questions, there were 3 questions in total with different sub-questions. And the majority of this was based on a case study. And where relevant, you had to answer the questions based on the case study. Then question 4 was basically your reference list. And this had to be done in terms of the School of Criminal Justice referencing guide. Your assignment had to have a cover page, a table of content, answers, and a reference list. If it had that, you would have received an additional 1 mark for simply following instructions. Okay, so the case study. Assignment 1 had a short case study, and I advised in my feedback that you were to go and look at the class in which I talked about answering questions based on a case study. Now, case studies or scenarios are fundamental to evaluate your skills and knowledge at the 3rd year level. I cannot at this stage ask you to name and explain something, for example. Everything I ask you has to be application because you are 3rd year. This form of assessment is vital to address the following skills. It will help you in terms of reading. It will help you in terms of developing your critical thinking skills. It also shows me, the marker, whether you are able to take the information from the study guide, apply it to the case study, and make the correct analysis thereof. You are also then able to motivate for the use of the knowledge that you are giving, and you are able to then apply this knowledge that you have gained in unfamiliar context. And this is not something that I decided to do to see how many of you I can delay. The National Qualification Authority has given us NQF levels, and this module is on an NQF 7, which means there has to be, the majority of questions have to be application based, in which you have to prove critical thinking, critical reasoning in an unfamiliar context. So it doesn't help I give you a question and you can simply copy out of the study guide. That does not tell me that you understand the work. So this form of assessment will be used in the exam. And I urge you, please, if you have not done so, please go and look at the class I presented on answering from a case study. It will help you to understand how to do what is expected of you in a clearer and concise manner. Excuse me, I just want to take a sip of water. Now, the most common errors that I found, and I've even just now seen students complaining about their assignments being marked as suspicious. We'll talk about that briefly before the end of the session. So the most common errors I have been finding that the students have been making is either not using the study guide as the primary source, or not using the study guide at all. In some instances, believe it or not, there were students that did not reference the study guide once. I can see out of the answers that nothing in that assignment comes out of the study guide. Wrong, but when your answers are wrong, that is what makes that strategy a flawed strategy. Other students simply copy directly from the study guide. Let's take a look at question. I have so many students that complained about question 1.4. Benson, how can I not get full marks for question 1.4? I answered exactly as it's written in the study guide. So you will recall that question 1.4 asks, when the analyst has received the data, what can be determined from these records about Mr. Crocombe? And then the tutorial letter gives you things like indicates telephonic communication between specific cellular or telephone numbers. But in the not going to spoon feed you. I am not going to give you the practical application of what I expected of you to do. I did that in the past, and you know what happens then? Then the students simply copy and paste that into the next sessions when they find a similar question. So I gave you the basis. You had to go and say, for example, corroborates or refutes the version of the complainant. So you can say, the cell phone analysis will corroborate or refute the version given by Mr. Crocombe about his whereabouts. For example, determines communication between individuals. It determines communication between Mr. Crocombe and other individuals who may be involved in the theft. It determines the duration of calls between Mr. Crocombe and suspected second or third suspects who are yet to be identified. So that is what you were supposed to do by question 1.4. If you simply gave me that bullet list that's in the study guide, you got 4 out of 10, because you cannot get 5 out of 10 for copying and not applying your mind. That would be ludicrous, because then you've learned nothing. The second one, providing answers that are out of context and providing answers not relevant to South Africa. Now, I want to stand still a moment by the students whose assignments are marked suspicious. Now, when I say that your text has been AI generated and you will be flagged, what I'm telling you is that you used whatever. Now, this is not applicable to everybody, please. I'm only talking to a specific group of students here. So what I'm telling you is that you used some or another form of artificial intelligence or a large language model. It can be chat, it can be Copilot, it can be Bing, it can be Siri, it can be Alexa, to name but a few. And you used whatever information they gave you, and you answered questions 1.1. So I did a test. And question 1.1, let's go to the question. Explain in your own words what the Lochner principle is and who discovered it. Very simple, very, very simple. So the Lochner principle is equivalent to the low-code exchange principle, except it's in cyberspace and it works with signals. 2 marks. It was discovered by Dr. H. Lochner and patented in 2010 because of his PhD. 2 marks. 3 marks for that. And then obviously you needed a reference. So what upset me was when I started reading, the Lochner era refers to a period in American legal history, roughly from the late 19th century to the earlier 20th century, during which the US Supreme Court often struck down state and federal economic regulations on the basis of the 14th Amendment's due process clause, particular principle of substantive due process. If you gave me anything like that, Lochner versus New York, 1905. Lochner era associated with judicial activism and individual economic liberty. Then you got your answer from an AI source. And not only is that rather silly to do, but the answer that that AI source gave you was incorrect, because I'm wondering, why would you not double check your answer with the study guide? Because not only is what you did wrong in terms of the student disciplinary code, it's also incorrect, factually incorrect. So for every student whose assignment is marked suspicious script, either I or the marker picked up something like this in your assignment. So what would happen? Let's say, for example, 1.1. I am convinced you used AI. I will give you a warning and you will get 0 out of 3 for question 1.1. But I will mark the rest of your assignment. So if you wrote correctly 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and the rest of your assignment is fine. There's no AI interference in which I can see you obviously used AI. Then that's fine. Then you simply lose marks for question 1.1, but you will be receiving a warning that I have picked up that you have plagiarized because you are using somebody's information that is not your own, and you are giving it forward as your own. There was one student who was able to prove to me that he accessed a legal book, and he was able to convince me that AI was not involved because he used a legal book to get this specific answer. Other than that, if I find this about Lochner versus New York, the legal history, guys, please do your own work, do your own reading. You are only cheating yourself when you try to take shortcut. I know that those of you attending the session tonight, probably none of you have done this. Probably those of you who are here are actually the majority, the honest, hardworking students. So if you hear of somebody using AI or large language models or even assignment mills, please warn them. They are cheapening their own qualifications. Okay, providing answers not relevant to South Africa. Let's go and look at okay, 1.3. Let's take a look at question 1.3. Access the cell phone records of Mr. Crocombe. Motivate your answer. Now, you would recall that we had Warrant Officer Van Rooyen speaking to us about cell phone analysis. And he told us about Section 205 subpoena, that we need to get the cell phone data and that only a police official can apply for a Section 205. So the answer is yes, it is. Warrant Officer Mashlangu needs to apply for a Section 205 subpoena through the magistrate courts. Through a Section 205, they requisite a cell phone record of the suspect's phone, and the magistrate will authorize. That was your answer. But instead of going to the study guide, what I was getting is I was getting a bullet list and then answers that go something like this. Accessing the cell phone records of Mr. Crocombe could potentially provide valuable additional evidence in the investigation of the case. Here are some motivations for seeking access to his cell phone records. You are not answering the question. And then we have headings: communication patterns, location data, call logs, text message content, corroborating evidence, and then a summary. The dead giveaway here is that nothing of this is available or is applicable, number one, to the South African context, and number two, to your study guide. This is a typical answer that something like Chat would give, because Chat does not know about the low code exchange principle. Chat does not know about Section 205, and therefore Chat will not tell you about Section 205. Chat will tell you about vague things, about getting needing court permission or privacy laws, whatever the case might be. Anything other than what I've just given you is incorrect. Then I had one or two students who simply didn't read the question, and I don't know what to say there. But we will chat about that when we also talk about the exam preparation. Not understanding the question or misunderstanding the question. I think that's possibly what happened in, I don't know, question 1.1 and perhaps question 1.4. And then not taking the number of marks into consideration. If something is 10 marks, you cannot write 4 lines about it. If something is 3 marks, you shouldn't write a half a page. Having said that, it's not so much about how much you write as it is about what you write. I can write 20 pages of information, and the information could all be wrong. And then I can say, but yes, I wrote so much. I gave you so much information. It doesn't help if the information is not relevant or is not correct or is not accurate. Okay, let's proceed to the next one, referencing. You are now a third-year student, so referencing should not be a foreign concept. Why do we reference? Reference is nothing other than giving proof, giving evidence to show that I have read and this is what I've read. So basically, we provide references to show the reader that we've read up on the topic and also to give evidence in support of what we are saying. So at this stage, you must be referencing your study guide. But it is also good to reference additional sources, provided those sources are legitimate sources. I'm just going to pause here a quick moment. I just want to go and see what my dogs are so upset about. If you just excuse me just one moment. Apologies, everybody. Yeah, we've managed to sort them out. Okay, where were we? Referencing, why it is important. So you were expected to reference every question. So in other words, you got 1 mark when you referenced anywhere in question 1. So question 1 had 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So I would have liked to see you reference 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. But if that reference you cited there, let's say you referenced Mokoena, and Mokoena is not in your reference list at the back, you don't get marks for it. You will only get marks for a reference if it's in your text, but also in the reference list. And guys and ladies, my apologies. The tutorial letter for referencing looks like this. You cannot, at this stage, be telling me you don't know how to reference. There is a complete class on how to reference that I give to my master students. The recording has been sent to you. So given referencing is perhaps not 30% of the overall mark for this assignment. But in the past 2 semesters, I have seen students fail simply because they don't reference. Simply because they don't reference. They do poorly, but they do well enough to get close to a 50%. Had they referenced, they would have passed. So I want to really, really, really urge you. Referencing is not there because I don't know what else to ask. Referencing is part of what you are supposed to be able to do at 3rd year. This is an exit level module. You are supposed to be able to give evidence of where you got the information that you are reporting on. And obviously, that evidence needs to be paraphrased into your own words. So let's talk about paraphrasing quickly. So many of the students on the Telegram group complained bitterly about, yeah, but they wrote in their own words and and it seems I don't know what I want, and will they ever pass this module? So let's just break it down quickly. If you've written in your own words, you used chat's words, it's not going to fly. If you wrote in your own words and the answer is wrong, I cannot give you marks. Because that is the only way I can see you understand the work or not. If you wrote in your own words, but you didn't link the answer to the case study, it helps nothing, because I still don't see that you understand the work. Again, academic integrity is vital. To go out into the labor market and you want to be able to find work with a qualification that some students out there are busy making cheap by unethical conduct. Because what happens is, now I cheat my way through the assignment and the exam. I get to the workplace, I can't do the work because I don't understand the work. And what does the workplace say about the UNISA qualifications? They're useless. The students don't understand the work. They don't mean anything. So please do yourself a favor, do your fellow students a favor, and make sure that when you do work, you do it on your own. It is your own work. Okay, I have completed the feedback session in terms of what was expected of you. I want to go to the question and answer session quickly. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Right. Okay, I see we have about 42 people in the session. Can I ask, let me just quickly enable your microphones so that you can, okay, there we go. Okay, you should all now be able to unmute yourselves. Can I ask for the first 3 hands in terms of students that want to ask me about specifically feedback on assignment 2? Ewald, I see your name. I'm just waiting for 2 more hands, if that's okay. Simon, I see your name. Okay, and Bamangele. We have our first 3 names. Thank you so much. Dewald, you can unmute yourself and then ask your question. You will be followed immediately afterwards by Simon, and then immediately by Bamangele, and then I'm going to stop, and then we will go to the next 3, if that's okay. Dewald, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Okay, while we wait for Dewald to enable his mic, Simon, you may pose your question. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and you, Prof. Prof, thank you very much for this session. Now I think I see my mistake on the second assignment, and I really appreciate for your time. I can see in the coming exam, I will do better because I didn't follow I didn't answer according to the case study most of the time. I just did it in my own words, paraphrasing from the study guide. But I think now I know. But there's a one thing that is giving me problem: how to reference a study guide at the end.
Okay, Simon, referencing the study guide.
Yes, Prof.
Many of you have asked me how to reference the study guide, and it's in the tutorial letter. Simon, why is it a problem? What is giving you a problem?
I'm not. That is why I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Prof. Really, like it's the only thing that now I'm confused about. But other things you made it clear, and I'm happy for that.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, Simon, I'll tell you what now. I will, after the class, I will write out the correct referencing format for the study guide. Will that help?
Yes, I would really appreciate that.
Okay.
I'll really appreciate it because it will help me through other modules also.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you
Yes,
very
because
much,
it is a little bit tricky because there's no date.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Simon. Bamangele?
Good evening, Professor.
Hi.
Professor, thank you for this class. I would just like to know on assignment 2, 3.3, question 3.3.
Mm-hmm.
Because there I'm totally lost because on the tutorial letter, unfortunately, I don't see my tutorial letter here.
Yeah.
But there you mentioned that the answer is on the study guide. But then when I check there on the study guide, the page that you mentioned, I don't find the answer there. So I was like completely lost because I got a 0 there. Yes, that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Bamangele, thank you very, very much. And it's important that you raised that question, and I'm glad you raised the question. Because if you look at the guidelines I'm giving you additional resources as well. And I've posted the recordings to the links to the class given by Mr. Kemp of the Polygraph Institute. And in his presentation, he discusses this specific question. And that is why you will get some of the answers on page 60 and 62 of your study guide, but the others is under the additional resources, which is part of what you have to engage with when you prepare for your assignment. And please make sure you engage with the additional resources also for the exams, please. Bamangele, does it answer your question?
Yes, Prof. Thank you.
Okay. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and then we have Tandeka.
Good evening, Prof.
Hello, my dear.
Okay, I thank you for the class, Prof. Ne? My problem was on question 2. Let me say question, the whole of question 2.
Yeah.
But it was 2.2 where I didn't understand the thing where they say which surveillance that was supposed to be used by the on Mr. Chromecast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I didn't understand the question because I did that one. I got it wrong.
Okay, what was your answer, Tandeka? What did you say?
I said vehicle surveillance.
Vehicle surveillance.
Yes.
Okay. And why did you say vehicle surveillance?
I think it was the best because there is a vehicle of Mr. Chromecast there, which shows him coming into the what is it? Into the place where
Yes.
in the case that's why I said we must use it, but I got it wrong.
Okay. Tandeka, when we do surveillance, surveillance is done to gather additional evidence or information.
Okay.
So the crime has been committed. Mr. Krookamp stole the diesel and he left the premises. But now on the
Yes.
CCTV footage, we see it was him. So now we follow him afterwards to see where is he going? Address. Then we take photos of the address. Who does he meet? What do these people look like? We take photos of the people. How long is he there? Can we link anybody that he's going to meet with to the plant as well? So, because perhaps he's not the only one stealing fuel. So I need to see out of your answer, Thandeka, that you understand what it is that you are answering, because you can tell me vehicle surveillance, but if your answer is not speaking to what we use surveillance for, then I'm not sure that you understand what it is that you are talking about.
I didn't understand the question. That's why I got it wrong.
Okay. But does it make sense now?
Yes, it does make sense, Prof.
Okay. All right. Okay. Bakhat. Nonjabulo? Jabulo, you can ask your question. Okay, while we wait for Nonjabulo, Dewald, let's go back to you quickly.
Good evening, Prof. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Welcome.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for taking this time. So with 1.1, I gave the principal and also the established register and patent date.
Yeah.
But I only got 1 mark, and also the referencing was done throughout. So I feel it's a 2 out of 3, but I only got 1. And also my reference list was never marked, so I lost 5 marks on that.
Okay, 5 potential marks, Dewald.
Yeah.
Okay, Dewald, if you can, no, you know what, all jokes aside, if you can show me out of the feedback tutorial letter where you feel 1.1, you answered what's in the tutorial letter and I did not mark it, please, you send me an email, attach your marked assignment, and I will double check. I'm not going to, guys, listen to me carefully. I'm not going to double check something when you say, I feel I should have gotten more marks. If you tell me I've read tutorial letter 202 and I've seen what you've written there, and what you've written there is basically what I've written there, then I will go and take a look at your work. But don't tell me, man, I wrote so much and I worked so hard and you just didn't mark, and then we will get off the soapbox. Dewald, will that be okay?
That's fantastic. Just one more question.
Please?
If you didn't do your reference list in alphabetical order, does that justify a 0 then? I just want to confirm.
It shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. You should have at least gotten 1 or 2 with a question mark. But let me take a look at that as well. But that's a good question, Dewald. Guys, remember, reference list, alphabetical, please.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I'll send it shortly, and thank you for taking
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Simon, I see your hand is still raised. Thandeka, let's see if we can get Nonjabulo on the line.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Prof. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, my dear.
Okay. Can you please help me, Prof, with the question 1.4? Because I was trying to do a revision from May exam and October exam, also their assignment for previous year. I come across this question, all the question paper, but when I'm trying to answer it, I'm failing to give the correct answer. Can you?
Can you read to me what you answered there for question 1.4?
I just took the information that I got from the study guide, but when I'm doing the revision, let me check my book. Okay, when I'm doing my revision. Okay, what they say, determine the define way. It's other question that I answered. So I would have to put I need to search it.
Is it the one about the cell phone analyst, what the cell phone analyst can find?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. And then you wrote things like indicates telephonic communication between specific cell numbers, corroborates or refutes the version of the complainant, witness, or suspect, proves previous possession of stolen property, for example, stolen cell phone or SIM card. Is that what you wrote?
Yes, Prof.
What's wrong with that, Njabulo? Simon,
So
can you help us?
Because I took it on a study guide, but I think I got 0. I'm not sure. I will double check my assignment because I was thinking I was supposed to write it from the study guide and the quotes on a case study.
Okay, I think you're right, Simon. Can you help? Can you help Nonjabulo with what you think where she went wrong?
Sorry, Prof, I didn't get her question. Can she repeat? Sorry.
No, never mind, Simon. I was hoping that you were listening because I think you were also one of the people that realized that when you don't link your answer, Nonjabulo, to the case study, then you are not answering the question. Because the case study, when you link your answer to the case study, it shows me that you understand, for example, indicates the past geographic location of the cell phone user. So, for example, the cell phone record will indicate past geographic locations where Mr. Crowcomp visited, which might also then identify where he is dropping off the diesel. So you have to make that connection between the answer and the case study.
Oh, okay, Prof. I understand my mistake. Thanks.
Okay, brilliant. Dewald, I see your hand is still raised. Did you want to ask another question? Dewald? Okay. Tebogo asked, is the question and answer session just for assignment 2 feedback? Yes, it is just for assignment 2 feedback. And Sidudizwe asked, where can we find the additional resources? Under additional resources on the module site. Any other questions? Hey, Tebogo, yes, you have a question?
Hi, Professor.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I have 2 questions. The first question is it okay for us to quote sources, especially when it comes to definitions, or does that count as plagiarism?
Okay, explain to me, because if you quote a source when you've given a definition, you are in effect not plagiarizing because you are telling the reader where you got the information from, unless you have written it directly out of the source and it's not in inverted commas. Then that might be construed as plagiarism because you are not paraphrasing. Does that make sense, Tebogo?
Yes, it makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
And the other question is, okay, it's actually two more questions. Is it compulsory to cite every resource in your answer where it refers to, you know, like always in brackets, or is it okay just to cite it once and then, you know, continue, especially if it's like a maybe question 1 with question 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and you're using one source for all those questions?
Tebogo, let me give you an example. So if question 1 is 2 paragraphs long and you are using the same source for both of them, I would put it right at the end of the entire question 1.1.
Okay.
Okay, so it should cover you, but this is for third year level. When you get to post-grad level, there will be other requirements for how you source and reference. So at this stage, I don't want to overcomplicate things. I just want you to get used to using a piece of literature, giving the reference and putting it into the reference list.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
And then is the age of the source of the reference important? Because in one of the modules I read that they don't accept resources that are more than 10 years old. Is that similar for this module as well?
Yes, exactly the same, for the simple reason we are in a law field and law changes very fast. So I cannot use a source older than 10 years because who says that that argument is still valid? Unless, Tebogo, unless I am explaining to you how the low-code exchange principle evolved over time from 18 so-and-so to 19 so-and-so to 1932 to 1988 to 2010 to 2024. So if I give you a chronology, in other words, a timeline, then my sources can be as old as time itself. But I cannot base my prime argument on a source that is older than 10 years.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Okay, I see we have another hand. Tandeka.
Good evening, Prof.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I'm not sure if someone has asked this question yet, or it's similar to the one that was asked. But in question 1.4, I answered from the study guide, and then I also referenced the study guide and also quoted it.
Yeah.
Everything that I wrote is what I got from the study guide, and I also wrote I referenced the study guide in my reference list.
Okay.
But here I see that your comment says that I copied and there is no reference to the case study. So I think, does it go back to the same question that was asked to say I should have answered according to the case study?
Yes, 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 yes. Remember what I said right in the beginning. Sorry, Tandeka, and I mentioned it in the guidelines as well. Where relevant, you have to relate the content of the study guide back to the case study.
Okay. I wanted to clarify that part.
Are you sorted now?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Okay. Anybody else? Ayumbezwa? Ayongezwa, you can unmute yourself. Okay, while we're waiting for Ayongezwa to unmute, Pindile.
Thank you, Prof. My question is not pertaining assignment 2. I just have this question because it's confusing me. The advantages and disadvantages of surveillance. Do I read the advantages according to the scenario, or do I read the advantages as in general? So I don't know which is which.
Okay. I would offer the following advice. When the case study talks about now we're going to use surveillance, and the question says, do you think surveillance is a good idea? What are the advantages and disadvantages of surveillance? Then I personally would apply the case study to that situation.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Thanks.
Ayongezwa, are you able to unmute yet? Okay, not yet, Karabu. Okay, Ayongezwa is unmuted. Yes, please ask. Not hearing you, Ayongezwa.
Hello.
Anybody? Karabu, is that you? I heard a hello. Ayongezwa, is that you?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, please talk. I proceed. Ayongezwa. I'm not hearing anything. Karabu, you can talk to us. Karabu.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the fit that make use of a variety of sources.
Yes.
Because I only use the site. So my question is supposed to use more resources even though the answers are from the study guide.
Well, if you are looking at question 4 and you get a potential 5 marks out of 5, how many marks do you think you will get if you only use one source? You will only get one, Karabu. So it's always better to use more sources. Karabu, are you answered? Okay, Ayongezwa. Let's try last time, Ayongezwa. Okay, I'm going to go to the chats quickly. Okay, Ayongezwa asked, Prof, I would like to know if we will have any other classes or is this our only class? We will be having an exam prep session next week. So yes, definitely next week an exam prep session. Okay. Godliver Mosibudu asked, to us who are writing sub, Prof, is there a way to nail it better? Please consider crossword puzzles. He's repeating the module for writing supplementaries. Okay. I may not use a crossword puzzle in the exam. I have tried in the past and it did not pass the examination requirements. So crossword puzzles will not be used. That's why I use them in the assignments. But I want to encourage everybody. The class on preparing for the exam, please make sure you attend it. There are a couple of reasons why students are not successful at the exam. Number one, the fact that it's an open book makes everybody think, okay, I can just write out of the study guide. Nothing could be further from the truth, because you see now, if you write what's in the study guide, you will get less than 50%. We will be using exactly the same case study of Mr. Krowkamp in the exam. So you are familiar with the case study. The questions will be different. I can obviously not ask the same questions. But I want to urge you, attend the class next week, but also go and look at the class in which I explained to you how to answer from a case study, answering using a case study. Then you cannot go wrong. You can absolutely not go wrong. And reference, 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 reference. That's all I can say. Flag your stuff, flag your different chapters. The students who are doing supplementary tutorial letter 201 and 202, I've posted on your module site, semester 2, 2023. So you have the feedback tutorial letters. You have access to everything your fellow students from this semester has. And let's use the Telegram group to clarify things. Let's ask questions. Let's try and unpack. Let's try and help each other on the Telegram group so that we can have a conversation and we can create a learning community in which we help each other. Okay. Ngezwa, I see your hand is still raised. Is there something that you absolutely need to ask? Okay, Zintle asked, Prof, what is wrong if the assignment, if you said suspicious? Zintle, I'm not sure if you were here in the beginning of the class, but I explained to the students what I did was, let's take, for example, question 1.1. I'll be with you now. So what I is that students didn't go to the case study, didn't go to the study guide to look for the answers. They asked AI, ChatGPT, or whatever the case might be. And the fact that they asked chat gave them the wrong answer. And when I found something like the Lochner era refers to a period in American history, or Lochner versus New York 1905, or the Lochner era is associated with judicial activism, then I know it's not your own work. Then I've instructed everybody to mark the assignment, So in other words, the whole assignment is marked, but then to flag it as suspicious, because then I will go and look, and then I will make double sure that what seems to be AI is in fact AI. And then you will get marks for the rest of your assignment, but for that specific question, you will get 0, but you will also get a warning letter from the university. Can you kindly finalize marking? Tebogo, I am so sorry. As you hear, I'm still ill. So because I've been ill for about a week, it has delayed the marking. I'm really pushing as fast as I can. But what you can do in the meantime is you can take tutorial letter 202 and start working through it. I really want to apologize for the delay in the return of the assignment. I don't usually get sick, but when I do, I hit a doozy. Okay, is the key to passing the exam to link your answer of the case study and then apply the knowledge from the study guide? Yes, because then it is application. Okay, guys, please don't use bullets when you answer. When it says discuss or when it says explain, I want to run away when I see a bullet list, because it's not what you are supposed to be doing. Elements may be considered as trademarks. Karabu, in the case study, I'm not really sure that there are specific trademarks, because remember, a trademark is a repetition of a certain type of conduct, and I only gave you one incident. So I didn't write the case study with the idea of having trademarks. So in my view, this specific case study has no trademarks in it because it's only a once-off incident. Okay, folks, it is now, okay, to those who are writing, Prof, is there a way to nail it better? Okay, yes, you did. I did address that. All right, okay. We are then formally done with the class. It's 7:03. I want to thank everybody for attending the class. I will circulate the link to the recording probably early tomorrow morning. And then, Simon, as promised, I will share the way how to reference the study guide. Okay, folks, please, if you feel that your assignment hasn't been effectively marked, but give evidence, don't tell me I feel I should get more marks. If you can give me evidence, I promise you, I will look at it. And then, yes, I'm going to sign off as I need to go and have my meds and get into bed. I am convinced that at least those of you who are here will ace the exam because you made the effort to come here. But let's keep talking on Telegram. Let's keep on practicing how do we apply case studies in answering. What does the practical application look like? Let us help each other with the referencing, because I am convinced, guys, that it's just a question of understanding. You know the work, but you just don't know how to do the practical application in terms of the case study. That's why it's so important that you attend the class on the exams. Okay. Everybody, have an awesome evening further, and look after yourselves. Stay warm, stay safe until we chat next week. And shalom to everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.